All right, Jason, you will have 1 minute for your first question. I will give you how long you have before each question before I pose it.
Okay.
Everyone, again, please hold your applause till the final question and closing statement are complete. Jason, you have 1 minute to answer this question. Which political leader from the past 50 years, other than Ronald Reagan, do you see as a role model?
Winston Churchill. I can tell you, the best advice I've ever heard was a speech given by Winston Churchill. He came to speak at a graduation. And for those of you that know Winston, he went nowhere without a top hat, a cigar, and a cane. And he walked up to the podium and addressed these students. He looked them right in the eye and he said, "Never give up." The crowd looked back, and then he reared up on the toes of his feet and said, "Never give up." He put the hat back on, the cigar in his mouth, took the cane, and sat down. What a great bit of advice. I've never given up in Jeff City, and I won't give up on you in Washington, D.C.
You have 1 minute for this question. In what specific ways would you help to support and unite the Republican Party in this district?
Lead. Lead by example. I was fortunate enough to get elected to the Missouri House at 28 years of age. I knocked on a lot of your doors, and you all were gracious enough to support me. And then when the Republicans became the majority, I was elected the youngest majority floor leader in the history of the state of Missouri. The first Republican floor leader in 48 years. And let me tell you, I got to drive all across this wonderful state that we have. Sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, recruiting candidates, visiting with many of you about how do we move forward our conservative, principled leadership. I've done it in the Missouri House, and I know I can do it for you in Washington, D.C.
Jason, you have 2 minutes for this question. Given the 8th District's vulnerability to natural disasters, what will be your approach to funding for FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers with our current budget crisis?
Well, I know that we are prone for disasters, but we are also very self-reliant in southeast Missouri. What I will not support is I will not support emergency hurricane relief that is more laden with pork. Have you guys seen this new Sandy relief bill? Folks, it's got more pork in it than the Pilot House and Whips combined. And they got great barbecue. We can't allow anyone to continue to take real national disasters and hijack them. I think I saw there was a racetrack funding for Hurricane Sandy relief. I don't know how that happens. It happens because we have leaders in Washington, D.C. that go along to get along. Folks, I've told you, I've stood. And I may have even upset a couple of you when I said no. But believe me, I've got the scars up and down over 12 years of representing you in Jefferson City that show I can stand firm for what's best for us in southeast Missouri and southern Missouri.
2 minutes for this question as well, Jason. What is your position on reauthorizing the 2008 Farm Bill, which did expire September 30th, 2012, and please be specific?
Well, one of the things that I learned that was very crazy about that reauthorization of the Farm Bill is that we had on the books laws that so mismanaged the free market that milk was going to cost $8 if we didn't do something. Now, how in the world does that happen? Congress continues to think that they can do better than the free markets. So I have a real problem with legislation that would have resulted in our milk costing as much as $8. Another issue that I have is the agriculture bills. And agriculture is very, very important to us in southern Missouri. But what I have a problem with is every agriculture bill is now a food stamp bill. There's more food stamps in an agriculture reauthorization than there is that talks about agriculture. Why is that? We're being held hostage on agriculture issues for food stamps. And folks, let's be real. We have more people on food stamps, on welfare, than we ever have. And we've got to start trimming that back. So specifically, I would work to decouple our agriculture away from food stamps so that we get caught in this position of being supportive of agriculture, but we have to support all these food stamps. And specifically, I would make sure that we repeal all of these books, or all these laws on the books that would make milk cost $8. It's crazy.
Jason, you have 2 minutes to answer this question. How would you support economic development in our 8th district?
Right to work, right to work, right to work. Folks, the best government program is a job. Now, I know that position may make a couple of you upset, but if you've lived in southern Missouri as long as I have, you've seen neighbors, you've seen friends' parents, you've seen grandparents lose jobs to Arkansas, lose jobs to Oklahoma, lose jobs to Tennessee. Listen, southern Missouri is proud. We just want an opportunity. And until we embrace right to work, which is the one true economic action that we can take as a state, we're never going to be able to provide those opportunities in southern Missouri. We'll lose them to Tennessee. We'll lose them to Arkansas, as we have. So right to work, right to work, right to work.
Jason, this is your last question. You will have 1 minute to answer it. Washington seems to be in gridlock. When, if ever, is it appropriate to compromise?
Well, it's always appropriate to talk and discuss. But I'll tell you what, if we do much more compromising, the way that current Republican leadership in Washington, D.C. defines compromise, there's going to be nothing left. Principles matter. Principles matter. How in the world can a Republican conservative look you in the eye and at the time they're asking for your vote, say, I won't give Washington, D.C. any more money, and then go ahead and vote for the man-made disaster called the fiscal cliff, or raise the debt limit, or not pass a budget? How in the world does Congress not pass a budget? They haven't going on 4 years now. None of us could do that. So on those key issues of spending, on those key issues of getting our act together, we can't compromise anymore, folks. We need to have people that will represent us in Washington, D.C. that can say no.
It is time for your closing statement, Jason. You will have 1.5 minutes for it when you're ready.
Thank you all so very much. My name is Jason Crowell, and I'm asking for your support. I've had the honor of representing many of you in this room for the last 12 years in Washington, or in Jefferson City. I look forward to the opportunity of possibly representing you in Washington, D.C. I don't currently hold office. I won't cause another special election or selection if I'm chosen. And as I said in my opening, all I have is my record. All I have is my consistency. From stopping spending and stopping wasteful spending. I've had more ink written about me than other candidates combined about my efforts and how I've been tested. From not tapping the rainy day fund, to saying no to baseball stadiums, to pushing for Medicaid reform, to standing up against tax credits without reform, to pension reform that I passed that will save you, the taxpayers, over $600 million on the state level over the next 10 years. Folks, records matter. Having the ability to stand for that next generation. I'm Jason Crowell. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Jason.